Hey folks, this is Adrian here to talk to you today a little bit about finger exercises and how you can keep your fingers guessing by making slight alterations and slight permutations to the exercises that you're doing in the event that your hand becomes too comfortable with what it's doing. I find that after I've been doing the same finger exercise for quite a while, it stops being useful to me in the sense that my fingers are no longer learning anything new from it. They're not gaining any new muscle memory. They're not helping me train my coordination between my hands, and they're not helping me with the brain-to-hand command stuff, because I've done them so many times and they're so comfortable that they're no longer helping me in that sense. You can still use exercises that you're comfortable with as warm-ups and stuff, and obviously it's good to be using them just in general to keep your fingers moving, but after a while doing an exercise, your fingers will get used to it and they will stop adapting. They will stop getting any benefit from that exercise. So that's kind of relatable to the idea of muscle confusion. When you're talking about physical exercise and weightlifting, if you lift the same weight the same way for too long, you'll stop growing muscle in that particular area. It will just stop helping you. So what you have to do is change your weight, change the way you're doing it. And the same principle can be applied to basic guitar exercises. And this is something that I do all the time. As soon as I become comfortable with an exercise, I alter it just a little bit, add one feature, take one feature away, change the order a little bit, and suddenly my fingers are challenged and go, hey, I haven't done that before, and I have to stop and think about it and do it slowly. And I start building new muscle memory, and when you slow down things like that and you have to learn new patterns, it forces you to better train the coordination between your hands and your brain and just your hands in general. So here are a few simple things that you can do to quickly adjust your exercises so that you're getting the most out of them. So we'll use just a basic example of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That. There's a few different things you can do to that. The first of which is simply just changing the order in which you're playing the notes. Instead of just going 1, 2, 3, 4, you can 1, 3, 2, 4, perhaps 1, 4, 3, 2, perhaps a 3, 2, 4, 1, and do stuff like this. And your fingers aren't used to it, they'll start gaining from that. They'll say, hey, wait a second, I'm not used to this, and they'll have to start building new muscle memory in order to be able to do it. You can also change the frequency in which the notes are played. You don't have to just play each note once. You can go 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, like that. You can also add notes and take notes away in a few different ways. You can just do groups of 2s, of 3s, and not even necessarily in those linear patterns. You can, where I'm doing 3 notes per string. You can also start adding in open strings to add an extra flair, so you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that, or even change the order in which you're playing notes there, including the open string too. Like that. And the beauty of doing exercises that are in uneven numbers on strings, like if you're doing a pattern that involves 3 or 5 or 7 notes on a string before you move to the next string, it's going to force your hands to do something interesting where you're starting with a downstroke, and when you go to the next string, you're continuing with an upstroke. So you're starting a pattern with an upstroke there. So you end up doing this. Down, up, down, up. And that's a good thing to train your fingers to do, because they're going to be confused a little bit. If you're not used to doing that, the first time you start doing it, your hands are going to be like, whoa, what is this? You can also alternate between certain numbers of notes on strings, so you don't just have to do 5, 5, 5, 5. You can do 3 and then 4. And that'll force your hand to do the same kind of thing, but just stretch it over a longer space. Now, one of the final things that I find really, really helpful is to start skipping strings. So you can do one pattern here, and then skip a string. You can also skip more than one string, so you can go 2 strings higher or 3 strings higher. And where it really starts getting interesting is when you start skipping strings in the middle of the pattern. So instead of going all on one string, you do something like this. Stuff starts getting wacky when you start mixing all of these ideas together, maybe doing, say, an open, 1, skip a string, 2, 3, come back, and hit 4. You see, I just made that one up on the spot, and I haven't done it before, and my fingers are already like, hey man, chill, we haven't done that yet. You need to relax. So, there's just a few ideas for starting to mix up your exercises. If you find that they're becoming mundane or that your fingers aren't getting anything from them anymore, just make simple little changes like that and they'll start helping your fingers a lot. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. Take it easy.